My red salutes and revolutionary greetings to everybody on the May Day. The May Day is the day of international solidarity of the working class, under whose leadership the entire exploited sections of society rally together in order to create a exploitation-free society. And that has been the tradition of expression of solidarity on the May Day. We express our solidarity today under the current existing conditions, and we redouble our resolve to continue this fight in order to achieve an exploitation-free society. May Day has a long history, and May Day is the symbol of centuries of struggles of the working people of the exploited sections, who through their struggles have won very, very valuable rights. One of them is the right for an 8-hour working day. This is under this situation of the COVID pandemic. This right is being violated in many parts of the world, including in our country. This cannot be allowed. At least in 4 states now in India, orders have been issued that the 8-hour working day will now be extended to 12 hours. And this has come through an administrative order. Now, these sort of attacks that happen, even in this difficult times when the country and the world is facing this pandemic, that is something we'll have to resist, and that is the meaning of redoubling our resolve, and that is the meaning of our revolutionary greetings on the May Day. Yes, we have to fight this pandemic together. It's only a united fight of the people that we can achieve this. Yes, this coronavirus does not distinguish between one human being and another. It can infect anybody. Yes, the virus does not distinguish, but our exploitative system does. There are people who can resist this violence because of this virus because of their levels of immunity, their levels of nutrition, and their levels of well-being. There are crores and crores of people, because of hunger, malnutrition, etc., who will fall victims to this virus. And that is the class divide under capitalism, which is what has to be ended if even in future, from the history of humanity, when such battles will surely emerge. Many are asking, from where did this virus come? Has it come from China? Yes, the first case was reported in China. It took China, the world, the WHO, everybody, nearly a month to identify that this is not a repeat virus of something which happened earlier, like the bird flu, or the swine flu, or the SARS, or the Nipah. This was an entirely different muted pandemic. Muted, you call it bacteria, you call it a virus. It's not a bacteria, it's a virus. It's gone through mutations and is still going through mutations. So that is why till the vaccine comes, and these mutations will make it more difficult for a vaccine to arrive, we all have to maintain the precautions. They say maintain social distance. No, it's not social distance. Maintain physical distance, but with social solidarity. That social solidarity is important. We cannot allow this pandemic situation to be utilized by people who want to sharpen polarization in our society, particularly communal polarization, like it is happening today, with the ruling dispensation using even these difficult times in order to target a religious minority community, and that is something that cannot be allowed, because it's only the united fight. It's the united fight of all of us together that will allow us to succeed. And that is paramount and important to maintain this unity. Yes, pandemics have often been used also as excuses or a pretext for bringing in draconian laws. The 1890s plague pandemic, that was utilized by the British then, who were herding the victims of the plague into detention camps, virtually sending them to their death, condemning them to their death. When the national movement and people started protesting against these conditions, there were 2 students, an MA students, brothers, the Chepekar brothers of the Pune University, who shot dead the Pune plague commissioner, William Rand, and after that came the Epidemic Act by the British, which is the Disaster Management Act of today. That was used with draconian provisions against anybody who was raising issues of human justice, issues of how to deal with people who have been afflicted by this plague, and that was used against them. And then along with that, when Bal Gangadhar Tilak wrote a scathing editorial in his publication, then came the Sedition Act, which was used to arrest him as saying that this is anti the government that you are doing, and therefore he was arrested under that. Later the Sedition Act was used against almost all major leaders of the national movement, including Mahatma Gandhi himself. And this sedition law also continues today to exist in our country, which is being used against anybody who is raising any opinion that is against the government. Now, these sort of draconian measures will also come using the pretext of the pandemic. Yes, the class divide. Yes, they will be using this pandemic for communal polarization. Yes, this will be used for draconian laws to come in. Now, these are something we'll have to fight. But right now, the focus should be on this, fighting this pandemic. And after all, we have to seek accountability for what that first case emerged in December. It took more than a month to all the scientists and everybody to say that this is a new type of a virus. And it was only in March 11 that the WHO categorized this as COVID-19 pandemic. So it took a long time for people to identify. So where did it first emerge from where it is coming, all that are issues that still have to be found out properly. Various hypotheses are there, but nothing of confirmation. So just to say the first case came in China, therefore China is responsible, is like saying the first case in India came in Kerala, therefore Kerala is responsible. First case in India was reported on January 30th. In the world in December. Till March 22nd, or the day of the Janata curfew, very little was done by us in India in order to protect ourselves, arm ourselves. When this pandemic does start spreading, how to face it. In Kerala though, because of the left-front government there, when the first case appeared on 30th January, before that the government there anticipated, because of the global news that was coming in, Kerala has a very large emigre population that is there all over the world. Any of them returning may carry that virus back into Kerala. So from 25th, 5 days before the first case was reported, control rooms were set up all over Kerala, all the district headquarters. And these control rooms started working 5 days before the first case was reported. That is why today the Kerala model is talked over all over the world. And the way this pandemic is being fought is also showing the stark difference between capitalism and socialism. Whether it's China, whether it's Vietnam, where there's not been a single death with this COVID pandemic. Remember, Vietnam has a long border with China. But they were able to protect themselves completely. Even today, they are protecting themselves because of the superiority of the system, where the government takes the responsibility for universal health care of its people. Same in Cuba, same in Korea. And that is what is happening in Kerala with the left-front government there. So this clearly shows the superiority of a exploitation-free society over the exploitative society of capitalism, which is why we greet ourselves on May Day and redouble our resolve to continue our fight to change this system. So therefore, we will have to, in this stage, immediately see how this situation can be contained. Yes, we lost a lot of time. We should have prepared ourselves, at least if not from December, at least when the first case appeared in 30th January. But then all through February, we did nothing. The Prime Minister calls for the Janata curfew on 22nd of March. Till then, 6-7 weeks have passed. We should have been prepared, no? But what was done instead? 24th of February, you had the Namaste Trump event in Gujarat. Lakhs and lakhs of people were jam-packed into a stadium. And that Namaste Trump event, after that, you see what is happening in Gujarat today. In Madhya Pradesh, with its lust for power, toppled an elected government, a democratically elected government in the state, and you ushered in a BJP government through horse trading and defection. And that BJP government was sworn in, the Chief Minister, in an open swearing-in ceremony where thousands of people are gathered. And now, what is the state of the virus spread in Madhya Pradesh? Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat are one of the worst states in our country. No, instead of preparing for this is the time we should have used to augment our hospital facilities, healthcare facilities, to prepare our doctors and our nurses and the health workers to actually face this pandemic when it just blows up. Instead, what happened? Even today, we do not have adequate personal protective equipment for our doctors and our health workers. Even today, we do not have actual testing facilities in order to identify where is this spreading, how many people have actually been infected by it. And this testing is one of the lowest in the world today. We test around 60 per million. For 10 lakhs of people, we test only 60, which is one of the lowest in the world. The lockdown should have been a period where through intensive testing we identify areas that are where it is spreading, and in the other areas where it is not spreading, slowly get back to normal activity, maintaining the precautions of physical distance, maintaining the precautions of hygienic conditions, washing our hands regularly, and not touching each other. That is what a lockdown should have been used for. And that's what we have done in Kerala. In Kerala, they have identified, like the traffic lights, three zones, the red, the yellow, and the green. The red are the areas where the pandemic is spreading or likely to spread. Green are those areas where there has not been a single positive case for the last 28 days. Yellow are those areas where there has been no positive case for the last 14 days, but it's still not yet confirmed to reach. We'll have to wait and see what happens in the next 14 days. So therefore they are yellow. And slowly the restrictions can be eased on a scientific basis. This was done. Why don't we do that for the rest of the country? The Prime Minister has to tell us. But as a result of this 4-hour notice for the lockdown, like the famous demonetization that the Prime Minister announced, just 4 hours for the lockdown, no state government was consulted. They were unprepared. People were unprepared. As a result, you saw the chaos of lakhs and lakhs of migrant workers because they lost their livelihood. They have no money to survive. There's no other place they can live except go back to their homes in their villages. And then lockdown, you said no transportation. Thousands of kilometers people have walked. They have died on the way. They died of hunger on the way. And this government left everybody totally unprepared and left them at the mercy of nature and this pandemic, and made them more vulnerable to be infected. Now, these arrangements should have been done earlier. Now, when people have nothing to live on, it is necessary that the government gives 7,500 rupees per month for the next 3 months to every non-income tax paying individual in our country. People are going hungry without any food. You have 7.7 crore tons in the central godowns. What are they rotting there for? Release them to the states, give it to the states free. They are on the battlefront, the states. They are on the front line. They are the ones who are actually fighting this pandemic. You give them resources. Instead, you are depriving them of even their dues, of the GST dues. You are depriving them of borrowing money because of the ceiling you impose on how much you can borrow. You are not willing to relax that ceiling. You are collecting in the name of a private trust that bears the Prime Minister's name thousands of crores of rupees in the name of fighting this pandemic. You have taken loans from the World Bank, from the Asian Development Bank to fight this pandemic. Where is that money going? And why is it a private trust? You have the Prime Minister's Disaster Relief Fund, set up in 1948 statutory fund. which is audited, which is transparent. Why a separate fund? No answers. But why? What will you do with that money? Send it to the states now. People need it. People need that money for survival, to live. You send it to the states, give equipment to our health workers and doctors, and do this testing, and let us together fight this pandemic. This is not the time to spread communal polarization. This is not the time to try and target somebody or the other, saying that they are the cause for it. This is the time when unitedly all of us will have to fight. And this is the time not to mount further attacks on our working people. This 8-hour day being extended to 12 hours, many such other proposals that are in the offing. People are losing their jobs. You said the jobs will be protected for 3 months, but people are losing their jobs in a big way. The unemployment has grown by 14 crore people who have become unemployed since the lockdown began. These are the estimates of the Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. Now, how will all these people survive? Is it not the government's responsibility to take care of them? You give guarantee to the employers. Some countries have given guarantee up to 80% of the wage bill, saying the government takes the guarantee for protecting their jobs and protecting their salaries. No, you've frozen the dearness allowance of government employees, of pensioners. You're deducting without their agreement 1 day's wages for this new private fund that you have created. Now, all this money, why release it immediately to the states so that this battle can be effectively fought? And these sort of new attacks on the rights of the working people, they will be resisted. They will be resisted, and that these hard-won rights, these are not charity of any government. The working class won through century of struggle. The 8 hour a day right. Now that is being snatched away. Now these cannot be allowed. On the other hand, what is happening? World's 10 top billionaires have amassed during the period of this pandemic an additional wealth of $308 billion. In India, our richest person, biggest entrepreneur, the Reliance company, has now registered a profit of 17.7% during the period of this pandemic. Their profits are rising, but they are retrenching jobs. Why should Reliance retrench jobs when their profits are rising? The economy was already in doldrums before the pandemic struck us. We were almost in a recession. Now, using the pandemic, all that cost cutting is being done by companies at the expense of misery and death of the people. This cannot be allowed. That is why today, when we say we redouble our resolve, all this will have to be fought. But they have to be fought first and foremost by defeating this pandemic. In order to defeat this pandemic, it is necessary that we, the CPIM, all our members, our sympathizers, our well-wishers, all the mass organizations, our comrades, like the CITU, like the Mahila Samiti, like our Kisan Sabha, like our agricultural labor, like our students, the youth, all our employees, unions, etc., who are associated and are well-wishers, they all have to be on the field. They are already on the field. Lakhs and lakhs of our volunteers today are providing relief in many relief camps all over the country. This work of being with the people will have to be further strengthened by protecting their rights, by working for their interests, and to protect people who will otherwise succumb to their health issues unless they are provided support. So the government has to be pressurized to do this, and it is this task that we will have to move forward. We don't know what the Prime Minister will announce on the 3rd. Until he announces, nobody knows what will happen to this lockdown, how it will be lifted, if it will be lifted at all or not. But let us be prepared. focus is on fighting this pandemic and defeating it. The focus is not allowing the pretext of this pandemic to destroy the democratic, hard-won democratic rights of the working people, to destroy the unity of our people through communal polarization, and to mount new laws with draconian provisions in order to attack the democratic rights of the people. And don't use the pandemic, which is happening. All the anti-CAA, NRC, NPR protesters, they are being rounded up in these draconian provisions in this time when the fight against the pandemic is on. So that is why we have to guard against all these trends as well and focus our energies on fighting this pandemic in the larger interest of changing this world, because socialism has shown its superiority even in fighting this pandemic as against what's happening in capitalist countries. And this is today our rededication on the day of the May Day of international solidarity. Yes, we will redouble our resolve and strengthen our struggles in order to ensure the establishment of an exploitation-free society. That is, with that, my revolutionary greetings once again and my right salutes to all of you.